Some of y'all just want to be white.
Why do some Latinos want to be white so bad?
It's because they view proximity to whiteness as the definition of success.
You're pretty if you're white. And I'm not talking about race, as in Caucasian. I'm talking about skin tone.
Latinos want to be white. They want to be with the cool kids.
So I remember I would be playing with my cousins, and I would be like, girl, why does your hair so straight and mine's is curly and ugly, and why is my skin so dark and yours is so light? I want to be like you. Like, I remember when I was younger, I wanted to be white so bad.
They seem to like light skins. Commonly, it seems to be a term of endearment. Like, I've even heard stories from here that they prefer light people over dark people. Why? I don't know. They seem to put them on a pedestal. Of course, they don't all think like that, but it seems to be a very popular opinion here that they think that light skin is beautiful.
Thank God that my ancestors were men from Spain and women from the native women, you want to call it, whatever. Because imagine if it was the other way around, if my ancestors were native men and then the other one was Spanish women. I don't think so. That would not go well, One way to tell if you're mestizo, Spanish blood and native blood: brown, white, tan, white, tan, white. There you go. There you go.
Self-hating Latinos that want to be white are something else. They're really special. Teddy. ¿Te acuerdan de Teddy sin censura? You remember Teddy? The one who said that Puerto Ricans they need a special document to be citizens. Well, he's back. And somehow he thinks now that being white is better. That having the Spanish blood. Mira, Teddy, let me tell you something. I'm more Spaniard than you. I got 30% blood from fucking Madrid because my grandparents are from Spain. But you think they would accept me if I went to Spain? No, bro. They would look at me as just another fucking Puerto Rican that's black. They don't give a about us. They don't give a about you either, especially you. If you went to Spain, they would just see you as another Mexican with zero Spanish blood. They would ask you for tacos. They don't give a about you. But you keep doing you. Que tengan buen día.
That is what we are talking about. That is the evidence. Real people, real words, describing exactly what happens in communities where colorism is running deep. Did you hear what they said? Proximity to whiteness as the definition of success. Light skin is beautiful. They put them on the pedestal. That ain't coincidence. That ain't just personal preference. That is a system. That is colonialism still doing its work generations later. See, here is a thing about how colonialism operates. It don't announce itself. It don't come with a flag. It just becomes the way people think about success, about beauty, about value. And until you name it, until you see it clearly, it just keeps running the show. It gets passed down. Parents teaching kids. Kids teaching their own kids. Each generation is thinking that they are discovering what is beautiful, when really they are repeating what colonialism planned. But when you really listen to people talking about it, like you just did, you can see the pattern clearly. The comparison, the internalized belief that lighter skin is better, brothers and sisters. This same pattern is everywhere. Africans bleaching their skin, Asians buying light skin products, Caribbeans, Indians, all over the world, people are literally poisoning their skin trying to get lighter because they've been told that lighter skin equals better. So let's watch these clips and I will come back at the end and tell you one single community that was able to look at this game and say no.
I'm white. Well, that's what I put on my paperwork. They say what they want. Call me coconut and everything. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just a Christian. I'm an American. I got brown skin, purple lips, and a full mane over here of hair. So I'm just an American. Simple. I'm not a Mexican. I don't claim to be a Mexican. I've learned that a Mexican is someone born in Mexico. I was born in America, so I'm an American. I'm an American citizen. I fill out white on every paperwork that I get, and I'm just a Tejano.
Oh, I'm Spanish. I claim Spain. I'm American. I'm not a Mexican. Never. And here's the thing, look, if you're born in the US, that's fine. You're a US citizen. I understand that. But the thing is, you can always change your nationality. You can never change your blood. And that blood is indigenous Mexican. It's just something that I cannot wrap my head around. But anyways, Couldn't be me.
I was cracking up when he started describing himself. I was disappointed he didn't keep going. I'm an American, I got bushy brows, a nice button nose, my ears are in the shape of... Alright, I'm gonna stop. Some of you might be shocked with what I'm about to say, but he speaks truth to some extent. In 1896, there was a landmark case that defined Mexicans as white for purpose of immigration law. So for law and immigration purposes, this is the whitest guy I've ever seen. Let's break it down though. We say this time and time again, but race is a social construct, it's made up, but it has a real impact on people, and this is a great example of the definition of people's race shifting. Because at some point, Mexicans were considered white, but we know that Mexicans can be white, because Mexican is a nationality, so there are white Mexicans and black Mexicans, Mexican folks that are indigenous. I think the other thing that this highlights is that people are still trying to have proximity to whiteness because they think it's better. And for people with roots in America Latina, this stems specifically back to the caste system, when being more Spaniard meant that you were better or superior. Ustedes ya saben. Something else I want to acknowledge here is that the homie over here says that you need to be born in Mexico to be Mexicano, but according to the Constitution of Mexico, Mexicanos nacen donde ellos quieran, as long as your parents are Mexican, and I think that's important to know. The last thing I'll say is that if he doesn't want to claim to be Mexican, so what? We've been talking over the last couple of days about plenty of people from outside of the community that would love to take his place. Folks that might want to actually uplift and support our culture. So familia, I'm gonna stop talking right here. Please let me know what do you all think about anything that I said. I look forward to reading the comments.
We try to be white so bad, it's funny. Why are we so ashamed of our own language, our own culture, our own food? While the other people look up to us, they wish they had our culture, they admire us. I have all my non-Desi friends dying over our food. Stop trying to be someone you're not. Speaking Urdu is considered too fobby now. Oh, it's too much Urdu for me. I can't do that. It's your own language. Get over yourself. And you thinking you look cool or funny, but it's screaming how insecure you are and how badly you want to fit into something you're not.
Try to act like they're Europeans, and I hate the I have a friend who has the skin tone of a lentil, and he introduced me to his kids, and he was like, this is Monaco and Milan. I was like, do you people have a mirror at home? Because that should be called Machu and Picchu.
I will not be participating in this whole white passing or whitewash Latina trend, because actually nothing infuriates me more than people who don't believe that I'm Latina or tell me that I don't look Latina enough. One, Latina's not a race, okay? You can be many different colors and still be Latina. Two, all this is doing, I feel like it's just causing harm. Like, it's just causing harm to the community. Please stop doing this. Thank you.
Every single person of color wanted to be white when they were younger. Bro, I can't. Everybody that was not white wanted to be white whenever we were younger. I remember whenever I was younger, all my cousins, they're like very light skin tone.
Oh my god.
All my cousins are very, very like white color. They're not white, but their skin is very, very light.
Mm-hmm. Me too. I remember this one time. I remember this one time I was obsessed with the LeBrant family, and I remember the mom was like, "Oh, I think we're gonna adopt a kid." I remember I told my mom to put me up for adoption so she could adopt me.
Bro, everybody wanted to be white, bro. I swear to God.
Am I a white passing Latino? Every time I say beaner, somebody has something to say. Oh, you can't say that. You can't say beaner. You're not dark. Yo puedo decir beaner si me da la pinche gana. Si me da la reverenda gana de decir beaner, I'm gonna call you beaner. Pinche güey.
How could you possibly love white people so much?
It's easy. Have you ever looked at them? White man just a joy to be around. They smell like lemon juice and pledge furniture cleaner. And look at them. They gave us discipline, jobs, put structure in our lives, took us out the jungle. And what we do to show our appreciation? We march up and down the street. We vote. Carry on. Ingrates.
As a Latina woman, I will never understand the need to have a proximity to whiteness in the Latino community. First of all, colorism is absolutely rampant no matter where you go with Latinos. You know, I grew up with it. One time when I was little, I came back from Cancun and I had like a tan, and my grandma made me start scrubbing myself so that I could get rid of that tan. On top of that, I've been told by both my grandmas that I need to mejorar la raza. But I was dating my ex, who was very morenito. I got into a really big fight with my aunt because she was like, Kelly, don't you want somebody with colored eyes? Don't you want somebody with lighter skin? What about your kids? Your kids are gonna come out dark. And like, my sister is like 5 shades darker than me. That was one of the biggest fights my aunt and I got into because, you know, my sister, my everything. And If my sister ever at any point begins to feel insecure about her skin color because our family members can't keep their fucking bullshit to themselves, and you know, I've had to have the talk with my sister, who's a lot darker than I am, about the fact that there are going to be people out there that do not like her simply because of her skin color. And it is so difficult to try to explain why that is to a child. Luckily, we live in a Latino community, so it's purely Latinos everywhere, and they're like all the same color as her. But at the end of the day, you know what I mean? Like, it makes me sad to have this conversation with her. My grandma always used to tell me to marry or date a white man because they're going to take care of me and make sure that I'm, like, you know, set for life. But at the end of the day, like, both the kids that married white men, one of them has to deal with racism from extended family members who say that she's only with him because of his money. My other aunt, she's married to a bigot and has become a bigot herself.
Did anybody else's Latin mom kind of like gaslight them into thinking that they're not as like Latin American as they actually are? Like my whole life always heard like, oh, your hair's not curly, it's wavy. Or what brought this up today is actually doing my eyebrows. I had to return the eyebrow pencil I bought because it was brown and it just looked ridiculous on me. And I'm like, why? Like I've always bought brown. And then I realized it was because my mom always would tell me, like, when she would use her black eyebrow pencil and I would try to use it, she'd be like, that's too dark for you. Your hair's brown. Your eyebrows are brown. They're not black. Like, my hair's not dark enough. My hair's not curly enough. I'm too white. Like, just all of the above. And then you actually go out into the adult world and I just tried a black eyebrow pencil and it matches me perfectly. I lost literal chunks of my hair and now that it's growing back damage-free, it's a perfect 3A spiral. Like, what has been done to me? Every single foundation I've ever bought, I'm realizing now, has been too light for me. Because anytime I would try something tanner, my mom would tell me it's too dark for me. Or if I would try to pick something in the store. And now I've just gotten so used to it that I see a color that is like clearly would work for me and I'm like, no, that's like too dark, like I'm pretty white. No, I'm not. I bought this foundation that was like for light, medium, olive skin and I'm like, this is too light for me. I look white. Like I've been gaslit. My whole life has been a lie.
You know you grew up in a white passing Mexican family when you have people come work on your house and they speak Spanish and they badmouth your mom and your tia in front of your tia who speaks Spanish. Then she goes and tells your dad what they said, and then your dad goes and tells them that if they ever disrespect his wife or his sister again, they're fired. I think this is just a lesson in not talking bad about people in front of them. You think they would have known coming to the Garcia house that there might be somebody there who understands Spanish. Oh, what they said were these lazy white women probably sit on their asses all day and don't do anything. Yeah, my dad was not happy about that.
Why is it always the darkest Mexicans and the predominantly indigenous Mexicans, the ones that are most obsessed with being white? They're the ones that you'll see at MAGA rallies or supporting ICE. They're always the first ones to say things like, oh, I'm not Mexican, I'm American. My parents are from Mexico, but I was born in Texas. And then on top of that, they'll say things like, oh, I'm Spanish. My family comes from Spain. I ain't no Mexican. It's always them, bro. You know, people always tell me, Angel, you're a white Mexican. You're a white-sican. You're white passing. Guys, I'm literally 61% indigenous Mexican. I'm only 17% Spanish, thank God. I have way lighter skin than the people I'm talking about.
In Latin American countries, is people that look like you, meaning European descendant, is usually the people that are the oppressor. To me, it's always been hypocritical when I see people that look like you, white presenting Mexicans or Latinos, that come to this country and they all of a sudden start complaining about oppression and all kinds of discrimination. It's like, you're complaining about exactly what you are and how you are in Latin American countries towards indigenous presenting people. And so that's why I've always been very, very apartheid when it comes to the white Latinos, because I was born in Mexico just like you. And even in
I did want to say something though, just to like living through my experience, and like what you're saying is true. My sister, people used to think she was mixed. She's full Mexican, but my family, they tend to have curly hair. But through living life and seeing the experience, my sister was held at pew pew point by police officers coming from a Bible study for no reason. And as your whitey presenting Latino friends, they should have stood up for you. They should have used their skin privilege, that they're lighter skin, to speak up against what was happening. Like, that has always been my mentality. And I understand what you're saying, because the majority of them do. And specifically the ones that come to America think that all of a sudden, oh, they're going to be invited into the white tea, whatever. They don't have barbecues or carne asadas. I don't know what they have, whatever they do.
Picnics.
And picnics. And the reality of it is that now we're seeing that's not true. Look at the Puerto Rican grandmother and granddaughter that were held in an ICE facility. Look at U.S. citizen, people that are being held at ICE facilities. In my family, they spoke about how they treated indigenous people. They called them chachas. They would go to these indigenous places. My mother's told me the stories. They've literally told me how they would go to these parts where people are so poor they have no shoes on, and they would be like, you can come and work for me. I will pay you zero money. You just come to my house. You're basically a servant is basically what it is. And you just have a better living standard. Sure. And basically we're taking advantage of indigenous people because we think that, colonialism taught us to think less of them. So I agree with the colorism thing. I think it also exists in other groups of people. They also have this colorism. But as a person, if you see, I grew up, nobody has to tell me, people would look at me, and I've said this before, I couldn't even speak English, and people would direct things at me instead of speaking to my father or my mother because they just, I don't know, the American thing is like, oh, I'm just going to talk to her. She just looks white. I'm just going to, basically address her as if she understands better. I grew up, I understood this. No one had to explain it to me. But as a person who loves my community, the divide comes from ignorance, from these like whitey presenting Latinos that think, and to see them be Trump supporters to me is wild because you're voting against your own. We should kick them out of our community. We should not include them. They shouldn't be admitted to our communities because they are voting for our people to be basically terrorized. That shouldn't be a reality in America, supposed to be the land of the free and based on immigrant idealism of where you bring your own thoughts and we create a better country. It's supposed to be what America supposedly stood for.
Coming out of Latino culture, man, there's that mera la raza thing where you improve the race and black people are marginalized within that culture, and people come here with that same mentality and want to do it to us, and we don't do that. We don't have a racist coalition against Latinos. We are the ones who are welcoming and helping many Latinos get here. If you look at all the black organizations, NAACP, the Urban League, the Congressional Black Caucus, these are the main organizations that are helping Latinos get over here. The DACA program. The DACA program is the Dreamer program. The Dreamer is based off the speech by Dr. Martin Luther King. So we're always sharing what meager resources we have and using our political power to help these other groups come over. For them to come over and start talking greasy about us, where's the coalition? So we're saying if we're going to have a real coalition, we're not going to have another colonizer come over, and we're not going to assist another colonizing group to have the same anti-black vitriol towards us and us pretend that that's a coalition, because it's not. We can't coddle people who are practicing anti-black racism and normalizing it. There was a story that came out in the LA Times last week about how a lot of Latino supervisors out here in LA, there are a lot of discrimination lawsuits against Latino supervisors because of the stuff they're doing to black employees. They're doing a lot of slick stuff to black employees all over LA. That's a major thing, and there's several lawsuits floating around the city right now. We got to clean that up if we're going to have a real coalition. That's something that we just can't keep ignoring.
And my 3 friends were also Mexican, but they were white presenting like you. And all of us were walking together. But then a cop out of nowhere came. It caused for other cop cars to pull up. I remember there was 4 cops that surrounded me, and then one that took my 3 white presenting friends over there. Meaning it took 4 cops to interrogate me by myself way over here. And then one cop took the white tea presenting Latino friends of mine over there. It's almost as if one cop could handle 3 white tea people, but it takes 4 to handle a non-white tea one. You see, when this happened, we were by a river. These cops literally threatened that they were going to drown me in that river, yelling in my face, we could get away with it because you ain't etc. When this was over, I got back in the car, my friends got back in the car, and there was an understanding in that car after this was over. The understanding was, yeah, sure, we're all Latinos, we're all Mexican, but this is where we learned how you are white and I'm not. See, a lot of people think, and a lot of people, what they do, the mistake that they do when a lot of Mexican Latinos in Latin American countries, when they are white tea presenting, they think that they could blend in with people like me, and it doesn't work, and it never has been a truth. In fact, people like me in Mexico and Central America and South America, people like me in countries, people that look like you, they treat us like. You see, what was very interesting to me as you were explaining all the things that you were regarding Mexico and the progress, the only people that I have observed that see progress in Mexico are white tea presenting Mexicans. Because you go to pueblos, indigenous people pueblos, they don't see no progress and they never seen it. The only people who always see progress in Mexico are people that look like you, because the reality is that in
When it comes to standing against white supremacy and winning, the Black American community is the only community that is doing it for real. They ain't trying to become white, and that's exactly what gives them power to fight this thing. Think about it like this. If you are in a war and the enemy offers you a disguise to blend in with them, most people gonna take it. But what happens if the enemy says no? You can't wear that disguise no matter what. You can't blend in. You can't compromise. You gotta fight them as yourself. That is the position that Black Americans are in. Other communities of color got offered that disguise, the promise of getting closer to whiteness. But Black Americans, the door was always closed. And because it is locked, they built something different. They built real resistance. The communities of color around the world are doing something different. Many Africans, Caribbeans, Latinos, Asians, they are all chasing whiteness, trying to please white people, trying to look white, trying to act white. And that is because of history. That is because colonialism messed them up in a specific way. Spain and Portugal came to Latin America and took over. They put Europeans at the top, the wealthy, the powerful, the educated people. And they put indigenous people and Africans at the bottom, enslaved, treated like less than human. That is how they organized the society. They created hierarchy based on skin color. It is like they created a ladder where the light skin color is at the top and dark skin is at the bottom. The lighter you are, the higher you can climb. The darker you are, the lower you stay. And they told everybody that this was natural. This was just how things are. The message got deep into people's heads, deep into family. Even after colonialism officially ended, those ideas stayed. Parents started teaching their kids to marry lighter skinned people so that they can climb higher to that ladder that was created by the colonialism system. Many Latin American families started seeing light skin as an investment into their future, into the future of their families. And there was not just preference, there was a strategy that was being passed from one family to another family of the next generation. And that is why you have heard it in those videos that many Latin American families are doing their best to lighten up their family. It is not because they are stupid, it is because they are playing the game that colonialism set up. They are all trying to climb the ladder. In Latino families, the straight hair gets praised. Kids with European facial features are told that they are beautiful. But what about dark skin? It gets stereotyped. It gets discriminated. It's not your first time to hear that phrase, mejora la raza. It literally means improving the race. These people are literally saying, let's lighten up our family. And that is what many of them are really trying to do. It's like there is a beauty scale, and white is 10, while dark is 1. Every time a family member gets married, they are trying to move up that scale. They are really shopping for lighter skinned partners like they are shopping stocks, trying to get the best return on investments for their family's future. But it's not just Latin America. Look at Africa. The bleaching cream industry is a multi-billion-dollar business. Look at Asia, the Caribbeans, India, all over the world. They're all doing the same thing. This is a global sickness. And it all comes back to white supremacy poisoning people's minds about what is beautiful and what is valuable. Now, Black Americans have dealt with colorism too. When the civil rights movement happened, when Black Power rose up, they looked at the scale and said, we're gonna destroy it. They said black is beautiful. They said they wasn't accepting any version of that hierarchy. Most other communities are still trying to climb the ladder that colonialism built, but Black Americans decided to smash that ladder. In America, the situation with Latinos is a little bit different because Latino is not a race. It is an ethnicity. You can still be Latino and be white, black, indigenous, mixed. Some people from Cuba, Argentina, parts of Mexico, they genuinely identify as white because of their family background. But others are rejecting that label and embracing Afro-Latino or indigenous identity. Both things are happening at the same time. For a long time, being lighter skinned or more white looking was connected to moving up in the society, to making money, to getting ahead. So many families were literally encouraging their kids to marry lighter skinned people so that they can increase the number of opportunities that they can access. So the whole improving race thing that we talked about, it was a real strategy that families used. And it was connected to the fact that white supremacy would actually reward you for getting closer to whiteness. If you could pass as white or close to it, you get better treatment, better jobs, more money. So brothers and sisters, I'm gonna really go deep into explaining what makes Black Americans different. Black Americans, as I know them, they're not trying to be white. The door was slammed shut long time ago and it is still locked. Black Americans couldn't play assimilation game. They tried to build their own institutions. They built black businesses. They built community structures. They organized movements. They called out white supremacy without begging for approval or for permission. All other communities of color are still trying to play that assimilation game, still trying to negotiate their way out of prison. When you are focused on climbing the ladder or moving up in the system, you can now effectively fight the system. Black Americans already understand that the system is not designed for them to win, so they are building out of the system. And as I said at the beginning, Black Americans are the only community that has truly broken free from chasing whiteness, and that freedom is what gives them the power to fight. Probably other communities can learn this from Black Americans. Tio Latinos, Tio Africans, the Caribbeans, Indians who are trying to climb up the ladder. I'm gonna tell you that you cannot win the system that wasn't designed for you to win. Please, let that sink in. If we had learned from people, let us learn from Black Americans. Their resilience, their boldness, their assertiveness. These are some of the characters that we all other communities of color should be learning from Black American brothers and sisters. So that's all. I'll be happy to see your ideas down there in the comment section. And if you enjoyed watching this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and subscribe for more interesting episodes. Mr. TA, your African brother, signing off. Ciao.